Frosty morning to you. It is 40 degrees in my neck of the woods, and today begins the fall equinox. What you're seeing are some shots of some birds that I saw yesterday. Not very good shots, to be honest with you. They caught my eye, and I was wondering what they were, because there was a big flock of them. I'd say probably a dozen, maybe 15. I couldn't get them all in the frame, but I am curious because I don't think they're hawks. I'm voting for turkey buzzards, but if you know what they are, and I'm sure some of you do, please drop a comment. And here's the shepherd. What's funny about this is we were out, I took her out yesterday afternoon before dinner, and as I was playing this clip back, I actually cut this clip into two pieces. And you'll see a little more of it later. So as I was playing this clip to figure out where to cut it, the shepherd heard me talking on the computer and thought I was talking to her, and thought I was telling her to go find the stick and all that stuff. And so she's over here snuffling and whining and nudging me and licking me and trying to get my attention. But she's now back in the doghouse because she was a naughty girl overnight. I do believe she curled herself up on the futon and had a nice little snooze there sometime overnight, and then scurried back to her transport carrier sometime when she heard me moving around, and so I wouldn't catch her, but I did catch her. And so she's in the dog jail right now, and we will be going out as soon as this video is processed. At any rate, I thought maybe we would go out to my Twitter feed for our news this morning. There's a few things that, I've been following comments from various people, and so let's go take a look. Julian Assange, this is from RT, and the caption reads, quote, "Special designation, Ecuador mulls sending Assange to," well, let me start that again. Special designation, Ecuador mulls sending Assange as a diplomat to Russia. And we're not going to read the tweet thread, but we are going to go to the RT story. So, special designation, Ecuador reportedly mulls sending Assange as a diplomat to Russia. Now, I don't follow Julian Assange's story very closely. I do get bombarded by tweets from his supporters because he has been cut off from internet access now for several months. Britain will not release him If he steps outside the embassy, the Ecuadorian embassy, he will be arrested and extradited to the United States to face charges. And so that's, I know the basic facts, but I don't follow this story as closely as I maybe should. At any rate, this is from RT this morning, about 2 hours ago. London refused to grant WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange diplomatic immunity so he could escape the confinement of the Ecuadorian embassy in the UK and relocate to Russia, Reuters reports. Citing government communications, whatever that means. The persona of Julian Assange has become a thorn in Ecuador's President Lenin Moreno's side, and ever since assuming office in May of last year, Moreno has made every effort to ensure the Australian stay at Ecuador's embassy in London comes to an end as soon as possible. To shift to the responsibility for Assange's protection against U.S. persecution, maybe they meant prosecution, I don't know. Ecuador allegedly mulled over offering the WikiLeaks founder a diplomatic post in Russia, which the country hoped would enable him, protected by diplomatic immunity, to finally leave the embassy after 6 years of arbitrary detention. London, however, refused to honor Moreno's move to authorize special designation for the 47-year-old to carry out diplomatic functions in Moscow, and has declined to grant the whistleblower a free passage out of the country, Reuters reports, citing a letter by Ecuador's foreign ministry to opposition legislator Paola Ventimilla. According to the letter, Quinto abandoned its idea to relocate the whistleblower to Moscow after the UK Foreign Office refused to recognize Assange's special status or any privileges and immunities awarded under the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. And you can read the rest of this report. I will leave you a link as always. And we'll just pause here for a moment. I forgot to put my Twitter links in our sticky note, so I apologize for that. So let's move on and see what else we have. There was a couple of things. Oh, the next story from the Drudge Report. The lawyer in the Kavanaugh case who is representing Dr. Christine Blasey Ford has been caught on camera saying going to resist. So let's go see that story. And whoops, let me just... Okay, this is, the caption is Kavanaugh's accuser's lawyer caught on camera, we are going to resist. And this is from the Daily Caller. Deborah Katz, one of the attorneys representing Brett Kavanaugh's accuser, attended a resistance rally against the president in 2017 and promised to fight back. Now I reviewed this clip, and we are going to roll it back. This is whoops. Stop there.
George, good morning. Well, after that contentious battle, Jeff Sessions is now the president's 8th confirmed cabinet nominee. And this morning, he is bidding farewell to all of this as the senator is sworn in as the next attorney general.
We're going to jump ahead. Sessions being sworn in, giving his statement after being sworn in. We do not have permission to play this whole clip, So we're going to zoom ahead to this rally. Here we go.
It was a bitter feud to the very end.
We're going to fight back. We are going to resist. We will not be silent.
Outrage.
So there you have it. 2017. Presumably this is sometime in November, after the elections, and that was Katz. And let's go on and see what else the Daily Caller has to tell us. Katz is representing Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, who claims Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh assaulted her in the 1980s while the two were in high school. So you know about this. I've reported on this a couple of times now. The lawyer has numerous ties to the resistance against Trump and was caught on camera at a protest. Oh, it was in February of 2017. Nice. After Jeff Sessions was confirmed as the administration's Attorney General. We're going to fight back, she told reporter. We are going to resist. We will not be silenced. This is very interesting, the timing, that it was in February after Sessions was confirmed. Looking back, having hindsight and the slow walking, I sometimes wonder if Sessions is being wheelchaired to work every day. Anyway, let me stop editorializing. Katz was identified only as a protester by ABC's Good Morning America. The Gargoyle, and the alumni magazine for the University of Wisconsin Law School, profiled Katz on August 9th of 2018, so just, a month and a half ago or so, and found her to be just as committed to fighting the president as she was at the 2017 protest. Quote, the resistance is not going away, says Katz, and she is committed to being part of it, close quote, the Gargoyle wrote. This, I would assume, is her law school that she went to based on the way this is written. When I go to a march on behalf of Dreamers, I hear young people making connections between DACA and Islamophobia. Katz told the magazine, I hope that energy continues to retake our democracy that is truly at risk now, close quote. And I would like to remind Attorney Katz and those of you who either are confused or don't know, or maybe it just slipped your mind. This is not a democracy. The United States is a constitutional republic, not a democracy. And of course, I've got a link up there for you. It'll be in the show notes. So let's go back to my Twitter feed and see what else we can dig up. So, Matt Schlapp says, confirm Kavanaugh, replace Rosenstein, hold Congress, and a martini. And this was retweeted by somebody that I follow and who follows me. His name is Terry Kinder. And my response was, if I can have 2 fingers of honey whiskey, I'm in. Meaning, the only thing I object to is a martini. So moving along. The most powerful, this is by Keem, and Alex Jones didn't do nothing, retweeted it. Now, Alex Jones didn't do nothing is the screen name for somebody who is actually, his handle is House Kraka. So it's capital H, capital C, and it's all smashed together. And House Kraka cracks me up. Very bad pun intended. Every time he tweets something of his own, it's always really funny and really pointed. There is nothing subtle about House Kraka, and so shout out to House Kraka. Anyway, Keemstar writes, the most powerful people and companies in the world are erasing AJ from the internet and history before our eyes. If they can do it to him, they can do it to anyone. You don't have to like AJ to defend him. This is censorship on a massive scale. Can't say I disagree. And I believe I retweeted that. This Rolling Stone, this whole tweet just doesn't make any sense to me, so we're skipping it. Here's Terry Kinder, who I just quoted his retweet. Hold the vote to confirm Kavanaugh. And he's responding to Fox and Friends tweet that says Grassley grants Kavanaugh accuser another extension, and we'll find out why in a moment. It's just unbelievable. All right, so Thomas Paine, this is Thomas 1774 Paine, not the other Thomas Paine. He tweets, the Huffington Post survey finds a smaller percentage of women than men find accusations against Kavanaugh, quote, credible, close quote. Let me read that to you again. Or let me reinterpret it to you, because I had to read it 3 times because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. A survey done by the Huffington Post is reporting that a smaller percentage of women find the accusations against Kavanaugh credible. I find that amazing because, excuse me, because one would presume that in the climate of the Me Too movement, more women would, out of hand, find an accuser's allegations credible. But it just goes to show, in my opinion, it just goes to show how trumped up and flimsy this whole effort by Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, sponsored and endorsed and jammed through Congress by Senator Dianne Feinstein to derail or slow walk or sideline the confirmation hearing of Judge Kavanaugh is. Regardless of what your opinion is of this issue, whether you favor Dr. Ford's interpretation of events that happened 35 years ago, or whether you believe that Judge Kavanaugh might be credible in this instance, none of this belongs in Congress. It is not Congress's responsibility to hear any of this testimony. It has nothing to do with confirmation hearings because it is an allegation that belongs at the local police department, which would be, I believe, in Connecticut, not in Congress under these circumstances. So, let's move on. Thank you, Thomas Paine. And my friend House Kraka again quotes Ann Coulter this time on this issue and says, Senator Grassley, now she wants you to wait until she drives from California to testify. This isn't Me Too. It's Me Too crazy. I couldn't agree more with Ann Coulter and House Kraka. And here's our old friend, former President Ronald Reagan, talking about fascism, and Terry Kinder also retweeted this, which is why it's in my stream. Quote, If fascism ever comes to America, it will come in the name of liberalism, close quote. Ronald Reagan. I'm going to scroll up here a little bit more. For you Michiganders, Correct Winger tweets about our Republican nominee in Michigan. His name is John James, and his Twitter handle is John James MI, at John James MI, and he is campaigning for the Senate seat that Debbie Stabenow now holds. We have 2 Democrat senators in Michigan, and they, in my opinion, and many conservative, liberal, and independent opinions, have not done a good job for Michigan. I will give them credit. When it comes to a plant opening or a rally for veterans, Senator Gary Peters shows up. If there's an opportunity, like there was a couple of months ago, I think in August, I'm pretty sure it was in August, when there was a bike rally in Washington, D.C. for President Trump. These are all bikers who support President Trump, and a pretty big crowd of them. Senator Peters decided it would be a good time to take a solo bike trip of Michigan. On that very same weekend, and I found that to be a little annoying. Anyway, let's hear what candidate for Senate in Michigan John James has to say, and you could make up your own mind whether you agree or disagree with his position on this.
Senator Stabenow has voted time and time again to block pay raises for our military. She voted against legislation that would have provided $2.5 billion to help disabled veterans. She even voted against emergency funding to help our troops in Iraq. You want to know how I know that? Because I was there. Because I was there at the tip of the spear fighting for freedom, and she couldn't have my 6. Well, I'll tell you what, when I get to Washington, veterans, service members, I will have your 6.
So, Correct Wing writes, I can watch clips of at John James MI at all night. He's truly a talent you don't see every day. He's only 36 and runs a company that is worth hundreds of millions and served 8 years in the Army. He is also endorsed by President Trump for the Michigan State Senate race. I can't disagree with that evaluation. As a military family member, a Navy parent of a sailor who did his 4-4 contract and was, discharged honorably, you bet, Senator or candidate James, you bet I want you to have our 6. And should you be elected and go to work on this issue, we got your 6. Those of us who are MilFam anyway in Michigan. Let's move on. There's our president, and CBS News is reporting that former Trump attorney Michael Cohen is cooperating with Mueller. We are not going to go see that story, but I think that's kind of interesting. And we're going to keep scrolling up because there's a couple other things I wanted to just touch on. Let's see, where is the next one? Where's our last story? Oh, there's there's Senator Schumer. You know, I was thinking when I was scrolling through this that if you ever wondered about the genesis of cartoons and political cartoons in particular, where do the cartoonists get their inspiration for facial expressions, whether it's a political cartoonist and a real person's face, or whether it's just a cartoon, you know, for kids or what have you. Just look at the shots that get published of Senator Schumer, and you know, those facial expressions come from real life. Let's move on. And this is kind of interesting. Drudge Report, little article. I didn't read it, but it's kind of interesting. And up we go. Here's a tweet from the president from the 16th. The illegal Mueller witch hunt continues just in search of a crime. There was never collusion with Russia except by the Clinton campaign, so these 17 angry Democrats are looking for anything they can find. Very unfair and bad for the country. Also not allowed under the law. Indeed, sir, indeed. So, this is kind of funny. We'll just look at it, and we're not going to spend too much time on it. But you know, when you're a commuter, I guess you have to multitask. I don't know. So let's go on. Thomas Paine also reports. This is again Thomas 1774 Paine of the Gateway Pundit, not the other Thomas Paine. And he reports that GOP Senator Susan Collins from Maine has gotten some pretty ugly voicemails, threats over Kavanaugh's hearings or nomination. He didn't finish his thought there, because underneath he cites his own, not Gateway Pundit, sorry, True Pundit. There's a couple of pundits out there. So Collins, my office has gotten pretty ugly voicemails and threats over Kavanaugh. GOP Senator Susan Collins of Maine, who has been viewed as a key swing vote in the Supreme Court fight, said in a recent interview, and I'll just leave it at that because her sentence trails off there in the quote. So, interesting. We'll be watching Senator Collins. This, I don't, because it's Fox News, I don't have, pardon me, permission to play it, but we will play you the setup that Judge Jeanine Pirro is responding to, and her response is, I fear for this nation when this is now the standard you believe any woman who goes against a Republican and you don't believe a woman who goes against a Democrat. More of my take on how the presumption of innocence is under attack via my interview with Hannity. All right, so we're not going to play this whole clip, but we are going to play the setup because Hannity has some interesting comments.
All right, we're live in Vegas tonight. By the way, the president is beginning to touch down as he's coming to this rally where we're broadcasting from at the convention center here in Vegas. Now, Fox News has just learned moments ago that Kavanaugh's accuser, Professor Ford, through her attorneys, has now issued a new list of terms for any, quote, congressional testimony. Among the new terms, we can report she only wants members of the committee, no lawyers to question her. Kavanaugh cannot be in the room, and Kavanaugh must be questioned first. Joining us now with reaction here in Vegas.
All right, so we just read about that. It's not the Senate's or the House's place during a confirmation hearing to, involve themselves in something that happened 35 years ago that has no bearing on the legal and career judicial qualifications for Kavanaugh or any other nominee for Supreme Court. And because this incident was not reported at all until now, this just has no place in the hearings. So let's just move on. Thank you, Judge Janine and Sean Hannity of Fox News. All right, now let's take a look at this. This is reported 12 hours ago, and we're going to go straight to the story. From Gateway Pundit, not True Pundit. Amazing. 2-mile long line for Trump rally in Springfield, Missouri. And this is reported by Kristen Taylor, September 21st, and let's just see what they have to say. The line of Trump supporters attending the president's rally in Springfield, Missouri is 2 miles long. According to a report from police and a local reporter, President Trump is scheduled to speak at 6:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time at JQH Arena, whatever that is. I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm not a Missourian, so whatever JQH is, we may find out later. The arena is located on the campus of Missouri State University. Reports state supporters started lining up early in the morning, with one claiming to have been in line since Thursday night. Other reports state that upwards of 20,000 people were in line for the 11,000 capacity venue. The rally is for Republican Josh Hawley, who is running against Democrat incumbent Claire McCaskill in the November election. I am not a big fan of Ms. McCaskill, so I would tend to agree with the president that maybe Josh Hawley ought to be given a shot, just like John James of Michigan against incumbent Senators Debbie Stabenow. But let's just move on and read some tweets. Missouri State University tweets, a campaign rally for U.S. Senate candidate Josh Hawley will be held on September 21st at the arena that I don't know what it is. President Donald Trump is expected to appear, and here is a shot, presumably, of the campus and the arena area. This is a pretty campus, at least this shot is anyway. Presidential visit to affect campus operations, road and parking closures, street rerouting to begin September 19th. Wow, so at least they were anticipating a crowd. Good for them. And making provisions for it. Moving on, local Fox reporter John Brown, quote, police tell me the JQH Arena may get close to a capacity 11,000 plus expected at Trump-Hawley event in Springfield. First people in line at 5:30 a.m., so that was 13 hours ahead of the scheduled rally start. The line is 2 miles long. At Fox 2 Now reports, and also at Fox 4KC. John Brown on Fox. Police tell me the JQH Arena may get capacity. Okay, we know that already. Caitlin Collins also reporting. And this was at 3:46 p.m. on September 21st, so this is yesterday afternoon, Heading into the arena for President Trump's rally in Springfield, Missouri tonight, a man waiting in line outside the doors told me he's been here since 9 p.m. last night. So that would have been Thursday, September 20th, 2018. Despite the off and on drizzle, well, you know, they've done it for rock concerts, so it doesn't surprise me. And Eric Graves reports to us from Twitter, "Hello, Springfield," applause. This is the line of people waiting to get their seats for President's rally at 8:15 a.m. yesterday morning, which again was September 21st, 2018. Crazy thing is, doors aren't opening until a little after 2 p.m. That's a pretty big crowd. And you can see where campus police and the local police force have cordoned off with those mobile barriers to make an orderly progression so that people aren't just milling all over the place. Very good crowd control, I must say. David Martin reports to us a lot of good people in line at the Trump rally in Springfield, Missouri today, and that was at 4:50 p.m. Okay. At 5:27, so an hour ahead of the actual event, and allegedly by now, according to what was reported earlier in the tweets, the doors should be already open. So she tells us, in line for Springfield Trump rally, crazy long, blocks and blocks away, presuming she's blocks and blocks away, hoping a lot of people don't have tickets. We have tickets at least. Again, an hour ahead of the event. So there's a little montage from Laura. Is it Laura? Yes. Okay, so Jill A. Tatum tells us, Len's in line, so somebody she knows, friend, relative, somebody, for Trump rally in Springfield, Missouri. Too many people. Hope he gets in. Well, if you didn't have a ticket at 6:24 p.m., 6 minutes before opening, or before the event starts, you know, sorry. Anyway, anything with wheels tells us a small fraction of the line to see Trump tonight in Springfield, and he reported at 5:08 p.m. We do not have permission to play this, but it is a 26-minute clip, so I think we're good. Or 26 seconds, sorry. So here is... Look at all those people. The lines are actually moving. At least some parts of the lines, as they sort of like, I don't know, snake back and forth, it looks like. Sort of a, you know. Anyway. Crowds waiting to see the president, Lori Hassel, reports to us. At rally in Springfield, Missouri, people camped out overnight to be here in line. Hammond's holds, so it's J.Q. Hammond's arena on the University of Missouri Springfield campus. So Hammond's holds 10,000, and I think they've given out 20,000 tickets, according to one police officer. So good to see so many here. MAGA. And that was 5:58, so, you know, a little over a half an hour to go. Yeah, there's a lot of people on campus. All right. Lori Hasso gives us another shot from 5:20 p.m. Let's see. Oh, here we go. From 4:43 p.m., Michael Tyndale reports, at real Donald Trump rally in Springfield, probably 20,000 people in line. He's guesstimating it. Line expands maybe 2 miles. Energy is high. And he further reports at 6:16 p.m. in line for at real Donald Trump rally in Springfield, probably not getting in. Thousands and thousands in line. Bought a Space Force shirt, totally happy, and it looks like he might have his son with him, although the shot is not, it's not clear. And the rally was announced just 1 week ago, and the update is photo from outside rally shows a huge throng of supporters watching the rally on a giant screen TV, and Drudge brought us that. Look at this shot doesn't have it, but I saw one. Here we go. All right, look at this. So they accommodated people in line who could not get in by providing them access to at least the setup. Maybe, I don't know, did they run it? I hope they did. So that was from Gateway Pundit. Thank you very much, Gateway Pundit. And we're going to close our news portion here. Good on you, Missourians. I hope the rally was everything you hoped for, and that your candidate is successful. And we'll be back in a minute. Here's the shepherd again, and I apologize for the wind noise. I'll try and key that out. She's poking around. She's not really paying attention to me, and my attention is diverted again to those birds. I'm voting for turkey buzzards because they are short-necked. They have a wide wingspan like a hawk, but they are not hawks. I know a hawk when I see it, and those are not hawks, and they are grouped, even though you can't see it here, you could see it earlier. They are grouped too close together. They're actually flocking, and the place that they are circling over and sort of diving into is a place on the northwest side, or the northeast side, sorry, of the lake that I live on. And it is, they might even be over the river, it's hard for me to tell, that feeds that lake. At any rate, we've covered some stories that we're continuing to cover. The Kavanaugh thing, the Kavanaugh delay on the hearings. We looked at the massive response to President Trump endorsing Josh Hawley, a candidate for Senate in Missouri. And yep, I can hear my voice, so I'll have to key that out. We looked at a couple of people who are in my Twitter feed, and they are pretty consistent posters. And if you'll just bear with me for a minute, I'm going to get rid of my own voice. There we go, fixed now. And so the dog is, we're playing fetch with the stick. We don't play fetch. She wasn't taught the term fetch. She was taught take. She was, take something. She was taught go find it, which means she has to go searching around. And she was taught give. And, as I've said before, she's not a dog that plays. She doesn't understand what playing is. So I've had to teach her that, if you go find the stick and take the stick and bring it to me, which she's almost going to find it here, then you can get a little treat. And that treat is usually a little nickel-sized slice of hot dog, which is the best treat she's going to get because chicken is too expensive. And I had chicken for dinner last night, not the dog having chicken. And once again, when she heard me talking about Stick, she came over to find out if I was talking to her. And we're going to end it here because she's off in a place I don't want her to be. I almost lost her in that underbrush. She got herself tangled up, got her 2 inches of choke chain wrapped around a very young sapling right up to where she couldn't move. And I have never heard a sound like what I was hearing out of her that day. And I talked about it, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or whatever. But because she is obedient enough, she trusted me to get her untangled. And when I told her to stand, because she was sitting, she couldn't even, the chain was so tightly around her neck that she just sat down. But she trusted me enough to stand up and let me fix it. And so there, she's fine. So it's a beautiful day here. While I was editing, I was watching a flock of about 20, maybe 25 geese that grew up on this lake, a couple hundred yards from where I'm sitting. And I watched them in the late spring and early summer go parading right under my window back and forth in the early morning. It was a lot of fun. And I am watching them now learn to fly in formation in preparation for, well, they've been learning to fly in formation for a while, but preparing for migration here shortly, and probably starting in a week or so, maybe 2 weeks. At any rate, I am going to check in and find out if there is any wood projects on my agenda by one of the friends in my little town, and probably take the dog out for a good long walk. Maybe it's too cold for a swim, but who knows? We'll see. In the meantime, it's a beautiful day here. I hope it's a beautiful day where you are. I hope you and yours are well, and that you have a terrific weekend. There may be another surprise story, as I hinted at yesterday. Maybe not. We'll see. Until I see you again, thank you so much for spending time with us. I appreciate it. You can find my Twitter feed that we pulled stories from at John, which is JN1410 on Twitter. You can also find us publishing stories on Mumblet, which is very much like a cross between Twitter and Facebook, but a much better platform in my opinion. And the username there is Halieus Media, all smashed together, all lowercase. So, have a great weekend.